today's presentation, we will be talking about operating system for computers and mobile phones, as well as discussing four types of the systems. The first type is Windows. Windows is an operating system designed by Microsoft. The operating system is what allows you to use a computer. Windows comes preloaded on most new personal computers, which helps to make it the most popular operating system in the world. Windows makes it possible to complete all types of everyday tasks on your computer. For example, you can use Windows to browse the internet, check your email, edit digital photos, listen to music, play games, and do much more. Windows is also used in many offices because it gives you access to productivity tools such as calendars, word processors, and spreadsheets. Microsoft released the first version of Windows in mid-1980s. There have been many versions of Windows since then, but the most recent ones include Windows 11 released in 2021, Windows 10 released in 2015, Windows 8 2012, Windows 7 2009, Windows Vista 2007, and Windows XP 2001.
Linux is an open source operating system. An operating system is the software that directly manages a system's hardware and resources like CPU, memory, and storage. The operating system sits between applications and hardware and makes the connection between all of your software and the physical resources that do the work. We will discuss three advantages of Linux. The first one is cost. Linux operating system comes with general public license. Different from Windows, it does not require any license, so the operating system is free to use. Even some of the softwares are entirely free on Linux. This makes Linux highly cost-effective. You can find good Windows alternative programs in the software manager. The second advantage is security. On default, Linux is designed to be secure. Unlike Windows, Linux is not much exposed to viruses. On very rare occasions, Linux is virus affected. That is the reason why Linux users do not normally install an antivirus software. And also hackers are not very interested in Linux due to its low market share. Even if it is, they cannot easily hijack the system since there are locks on each layer. The last advantage is source code. Linux is an operating system which is of open source base, which means that the code is free to modify. Users can easily change the code based on their needs. Thus, you can customize your own personal operating system. However, you will need to have the appropriate programming knowledge. On the other hand, Linux have some disadvantages. We will discuss two of them. The first one is adaptation. For people who are less expertise in computers, it can be hard to understand Linux. Most users find it difficult to adopt Linux due to the terminals used. Terminals are command line interface where you need to enter specific command in order to complete tasks. Furthermore, the level of difficulty varies according to the distribution used. For distributions like Arch, learning to use Linux becomes even more difficult. The second disadvantage is software compatibility. Popular applications which are made for Windows and Mac are not available for Linux. Many developers are not interested in making softwares for Linux due to its small market value. Some of such softwares are MS Office, iTunes, and Photoshop. Even though there are alternatives to these softwares, they cannot match up to the original level.
As you have seen that we have operating system for the computer, we also have operating system for the modern mobile phone such as Android. Android is mobile operating system based on modified version of the Linux kernel and other open source software designed primarily for touchscreen mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets. Android is developed by a consortium of developers and commercially sponsored by Google. It was unveiled in November 2007 with the first commercial Android devices, HTC, being launched in September 2008. Android Open Source Project, which is free and open source software. When Android is installed on device, the ability to modify the otherwise free and open source software is usually restricted, either by not providing the corresponding source code or preventing reinstallation through technical measure, thus rendering in the installed version proprietary. Over 70% of Android smartphones run Google's ecosystem, some with vendor customized user interfaces and software suites, such as One UI by Samsung, ColorOS by Oppo, Magic UI by Honor, and MIUI Xiaomi. Its software packages on Android developed by Google use the APK format are generally distributed through proprietary application stores like Google Play Stores, Amazon App Store, Samsung Galaxy Store, Huawei App Gallery, or open source platform like Abutide or APK Pure. Despite all these advantages, we have a fatal flaw, which is a lack of protection of personal information, which allows hackers to steal it, so most users turn to the iOS operating system. iOS is formerly iPhone OS is a mobile operating system created and developed by Apple exclusively for its hardware. Its operating system that powers many of the company's mobile devices include the iPhone. The term also includes the system software for iPads and iPad OS. The iOS App Store was opened on July 10, 2008, with the initial 500 applications available that quickly grew to 3,000 in September 2008, 15,000 in January 2009, 50,000 in June 2009, 100,000 in November 2009, 250 in August 2010, 650 in July 2012, 1 million in October 2013, 2 million in June 2016, and 2.2 million in January 2017. As of March 2016, 1 million apps are natively compatible with the iPad tablet computer. These apps have collectively been downloaded more than 130 billion times. App intelligence firm Sensor Tower estimated that the App Store would reach 6 million apps by 2023. Apps are the most general form of application software that can be installed on iOS. They are downloaded from the official catalog of the App Store digital store, where apps are subjected to security checks before being made available to users. Here, there are no legal ways to download application. Apple always updates its operating system in order to protect the information of its customers, so we find a slight increase in its price, but in my opinion it deserves this. At the end of our project, we would like to thank you all for your kind attention, and we hope that God will grant us success to your gain admiration.